searching for a Armani suit in Google Photos could, it would link to your page. So there's doing those type of tags and making sure that there's relevant content in there, because Google's checking your page all the time, and they're checking if it's original, they're checking if there's any duplicated stuff, or so you need to be doing that on a regular basis to make sure that your SEO is 100%. There are tools that can also check, that are free online, that can check for you and can tell you that you do have errors, and then they charge you for it. But yeah, there are many tools.
But there are also a lot of blogs, on SEO. So if you want to start loving the life of SEO, then you can just say, how do I SEO my blog or whatever. So you can just Google anything you want on
SEO or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever topic.
Yes.
And what's your reliance on listening tools, for instance? Do you use that as well? Like certain listening tools to see what people are talking about, so then you can start. So okay, so you will, I love to say that.
Yes.
So listening tools usually would be picking up what the world is talking about.
Trending.
So trends, how to follow trends, that was going to be one of my questions. But sorry, before that, Becky, was your question related to what we were discussing earlier? Sorry?
It's a separate question.
Oh, okay.
It's like in the SEO, if you don't have a website,
Yes.
let's say, and you're just doing social media like Facebook, Instagram, and how do you get that to show up when someone Googles a jewelry designer and my name pops up?
I don't know if somebody else wants to take that. Did everybody hear the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in regards to photos, right? I think you must be specific. But I'm not an expert on SEO. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But I've worked in the media industry. So you have to be specific in your tagging of your photo. So normally your photo is called IMG number.
Yeah.
So you have to rename your photo something. And the common, like if you're looking for something, or if you want someone to look for Johannesburg designer, or
Designer South Africa or something.
then you try to put one or two of those words into that photo, and then maybe your name as well. But that is basically SEO. And when people search for that, because obviously if you just put your name in there, someone who knows your name will search for you. But if you want someone that lives in Joburg and is looking for a specific designer, Muslim designer, whatever, then you put in those words that people will search for.
Okay.
So,
Thanks, Vanessa. Sorry, yeah, maybe Becky, your question, and then we'll go on to trends.
Guys, there's a tender. Who is the most famous? I'm serious.
Definitely not mine.
And what does that mean? And how
So
do
what
you-
exactly are you asking? Are you asking for someone to
following?
to
The
create
following?
a following for you?
Yeah, and
Right.
then I want to know, as we speak, how many people are following their blog? How do they monetize their blog? And I want to hear that.
Okay, so I think we've addressed some of those questions already, so I don't want to rehash things, but if there's anything specific you think that will help Becky decide you're the person, contract,
I
then
think
maybe
if
answer
you-
that specifically.
sorry to disrupt you guys.
Yeah.
I think you should be specific if you have a specific product, like the lady who's the designer, she would take her, for example, because she's always wearing fashionable clothes. I'm not someone that posts anything about clothes, so I can't sell that. So you have to be specific on those things, and you get a whole box basically, or a whole brand of someone. If you look at that person, I don't know if I'm making sense.
So, I mean, on this panel, the bookish nerd is probably your best bet, maybe
Yeah.
that would be your best bet. I don't know if this is what she does, because I know, but maybe that's your port of call, or at least where you start your investigations, maybe, because you're not going to necessarily take the first person you find, unless, of course, she's the lovely Zaki.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I want to actually ask about trending, because it was mentioned there as well. So I would, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand trends to be different to hashtags and the rest of it. So trends are what is popular or current or what is happening at the moment. How can you piggyback on that in your specific area or in your specific blog space or your website? Have you ever had an instance where something's hot on the media at the moment, or hot everywhere, everybody's talking about something, and you write a blog specifically targeting that on the spur of the moment? Well, not necessarily on the spur of the moment, but in reaction to that. How does that work for you? Anybody? Yeah, sure.
When Jamie's opened up at Melrose Arch, then I got an opportunity to blog for them. So at that moment, they were the hot and happening restaurant. So obviously me going there and trying their food, I could tell all my friends and people that I knew and my followers that this is the restaurant I'm eating at, this was what's nice at the restaurant, and they could go there as well.
So that's specifically on a review. And so
review.
your review then becomes your blog, or is it the other way around?
Your review becomes part of your blog.
Becomes part of your blog. So is your blog a more general kind of topic or question?
So my particular blog is basically product reviews, hotel reviews, restaurants. It's just basically reviews on everything.
Right. And do you how often is it different for each of you? How often you put out a blog? Well, I mean, obviously with you it's like daily outfits, so you're going to put out something daily, but that's an image, right? That's not necessarily a blog.
Yeah, that's kind of like an image. That's more Instagram related.
Okay.
So your blog itself is like more or less your reviews or somewhere that you've been and you want to share it with your viewers. But a lot of the time you do need to be active on your blog. You can't just leave it for like a month and then expect people to actually read your blog because you're not being consistent.
Okay, so the other question perhaps maybe, sorry, I'll come to you in a second, Victory. Maybe it's related to how you relate to your audience, or what do you engage? How often do you get responses or comments on your blogs, and is it important for you to respond to everyone, and in what period of time? Maybe somebody else, I don't know.
For my blog, I don't find that I get a lot of comments. For the social media posts,
I think it's more social media than your blog.
And then you have to respond, I think.
So, and how does one balance the two? Is there a way, is there a formula or a secret to success how you manage both your blog and your social media, or is it all linked?
They linked. Yeah, they linked.
Okay. And you've got it all under control. You've got it all sorted.
I don't know if you can ever have it all under control. I mean, it gets really, really hectic at some point.
I think the best thing for me so far has been to make sure that when I'm posting something, I have time to instantly go and respond back to people. Don't just post and then run away.
And then run off do a school run or something.
It's gonna mean that your organic reach is much lower than it would be if you were responding.
And also, sorry guys.
Sure.
The reason why we have blogs is organization. Because if someone is looking for an article, then a specific article, then they can just search on your blog, just type in a word, whatever, then they get that easy. If they have to search on Instagram or Facebook, you have to scroll down a lot of pictures.
Okay,
so the organization is one, and number two is you don't own Facebook, you don't own Instagram, you don't own all that
but
stuff.
You own your blog.
So your Facebook page can be shut
by
down or whatever by Facebook, but your blog is your thing. That's why it's good to have a blog and to show people to your blog.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, so there's a question from Victoria.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out your battle between yourselves and your social pages. So the proper image of who you are and your social image. So how do you handle the battle?
Okay,
I don't want to call it a challenge. I don't want to call it a challenge because I'm looking at some of you now and I'm already judging you compared to what I saw on social media, and it bothers me a lot. I do talks on parenting. I don't know if we're allowed to introduce ourselves.
Of course.
And I do talk to children, teenagers, and it bothers me a lot when some of them would come to me as young as 9, 8 and say to me, I've put up a post on Instagram and nobody likes it. So that battle that our children now have, how do you handle it?
Okay, for me personally, I feel like posting who I really am helps me a lot, which I couldn't do initially. Like I felt like I need to live up to society standards and I need to post things that people like. And now I feel like I'm a lot more confident with myself, and I post who I really am. And if people like it, then it's all right, and if they don't, then I'm also okay with it. So I think a lot of people, like a lot of your audience, engages with you when you're real and when you speak about who you really are, instead of pretending to be someone you're not.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's how we introduced Victoria wasn't here when we spoke about, how important it is to have that authentic voice and to be able to talk about what you're really passionate about and what you love. So I think that's, but I mean, the other question that Victoria was posing, I think is another whole workshop on its own, the pressures that the young, especially young people, but not only young people. I mean, we all suffer these anxieties, and we do want to be popular and we do want to be liked, not only for, because it's your business or it's what you're doing, but also just, a normal societal kind of pressures that we have. And I don't even think we're going to try and attempt that because we don't have much time, and I want to round off with your question perhaps.
Okay, so it's a two-part question. One, how much time does it take social media out of your life in a day? And two, how do you manage that time? Because do you take the picture, post it later? Do you just take the picture and, tag and put everything on it there? And don't you find that you are living through your phone and not living life?
Oh dear. Why do all these deep questions come right at the end now, But maybe, maybe every second person can just take a quick answer on that. So let's start with Nema, maybe.
Okay, so well, for a lot of us, this kind of stuff is more work than play. So you already generally, as a person, have time set aside for work, and it's in those work hours. You'll have a schedule. Like, I schedule almost everything because it's the only way I find that I get to everything. So making sure that your time that you're spending at work is not time that you see as for pleasure, because then you find that when you're actually having pleasure time, you still have those same reactions that you want to pick up your phone and post and do those things. Having a very good balance between the two is very important.
Okay, I also schedule some stuff, like my Twitter posts I would schedule, and then for blog posts, if I write blog posts, then I'll schedule that. I'll work on a weekend, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday or both. Then I'll schedule it for next week Monday, or next week Monday and Tuesday, or next week for the next 2 weeks. So then I don't work on blog posts for 2 weeks. And then also I try when I'm with friends or family, I try to put my phone away. It's hard when I'm just at home and it's my small family. That part is hard, but when I'm outside of my house, then I don't take out my phone, and I'm not the type of person to take pictures of food and that stuff. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a food blogger or you're reviewing restaurants, and I mean, if I see somebody just posting arbitrary pictures of their food, for me it's a complete turn off. I know other people love it, but if you're trying to build a social media presence, trying to be recognized as a credible blogger, you take your stuff seriously, and I mean, I don't know if any of you do it, but you obviously with an iloveza, but you probably have your private Facebook account and you have your business Facebook account, your blogging Facebook account. So it's important to keep those boundaries, I think, and with your timing and your scheduling. As an author personally, if I don't set a target and if I don't work towards a deadline, I'll never get there. I could just kill a day, trust me. I can wake up in the morning and the next thing is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I haven't written anything. So it does happen. I think it's important to have that discipline as well from the outset, because in the beginning when you're trying to build up something and you just want to give everything into it, but it doesn't always, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. Riaz, I don't know if you have any final questions, and maybe one more question from the audience if there's anybody.
No, okay.
You're good? Anybody else? Any other questions? Any final comments from the panel? Anything that you really wanted to say and I didn't ask it? Yes.
If you're starting a blog, make sure that you can write at least 100 posts on your topic before you start it. Because if you can't, you'll dry out.
So you don't have to have written them beforehand, but you have to have enough material and enough research in your head to say, okay, I can get this down.
Make sure that you can at least write 100 post titles if you can't write the actual post.
Okay. And is there a formula in terms of how long your blogs must be, or is it different per different?
Yeah. Okay, well, with a blog like WordPress or Blogspot or something like that, posts that are over 500 words get a lot more reach than those that are shorter.
Oh, I see. So the longer the post, the better.
Not necessarily.
Not that much.
Not usually long, but at least 500 words.
Okay, at least 500 words. All right. Okay, so I think that's it's enough for you to start thinking about if you want to get serious about blogging. Is there anything else before we round up? Then, in that case, thanks very much to the wonderful panel. It's wonderful to be surrounded by such beautiful ladies, and you didn't do too bad yourself. Thanks